Hello there, my friend. Welcome. I hope you are doing well during this time, well, as well as possible. We've got this full moon in Aries coming up on us. There is a lot going on with it. I'm going to get into that in just a second and how the Sabian symbol for the full moon can help during this really tricky time. Before that, I've just got a couple of notes. If you haven't signed up for my newsletter, please do, because I have a new offering coming up in November that I think you'll like. I will share it first in a newsletter, and I have a feeling it's going to go fast. So please sign up so you do not miss out. I will put the link in the description. Also, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do. I would really, really appreciate that. So thanks. Okay, let's get into the full moon happening on October 17th. As I said, it is an Aries, which we know is about power and anger and aggression and rage and it's a time that we are in now. And that full moon in Aries is conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. And that just means it's right next to, they're right next to each other, if you're not exactly sure what conjunction means. So the full moon is giving like this boost of power and energy to the emotions connected to pain and how we work with that pain. That's that Chiron coming in. This means you may be feeling pissed off at everything, everywhere, all at once, and that's okay. Also, we've got Mars and Pluto squaring the moon, which also brings along, how can I say this, like this very tempting invitation to engage your rage and confront things, which again isn't necessarily bad. It just depends on how you do it. So now let's go ahead and bring in our Sabian symbol. And I got to do it with one hand because I'm doing a mic like this. So the full moon happens at 24 degrees, 35 minutes Aries, which means we're going to round up and use the symbol for 25 degrees Aries, which is the possibility for man to gain experience at two levels of being. Now, just to say this, as for the word man, ignore it, replace it. um, Rudyard wrote this book like in 1973 or 1974. Also, I'm going to completely ignore Rudyard's interpretation of the sign of the symbol, because the context of his interpretations are like phrases, and he interprets all the degrees together. I don't do that. I use the Sabian symbols in the degrees like a la carte. All right. So for the full moon in Chiron and those squares in Mars and Pluto, remember there's a lot of rage and anger and hurt and so many things going on and so many things being uncovered. There's probably a lot of anger attached to the uncovering of whatever it is, and whether the anger is coming from you or from the community and so on. So bringing in the Sabian symbol, like for us personally, for you, you have a chance to gain experience with anger, with your anger at two levels, getting the two levels to work together to bring in Libra season and justice and the scales and balance. For example, do you remember the blog post I did on Hermann Hesse Steppenwolf and the wolf and the human going at each other? I'm going to put the link in a description so you can check it out. But in a nutshell, it's about the two halves working together because both can be useful. They can help each other. And what I mean is this, um, during the full moon in Aries and all of like these ragey times, the human side, the intellectual thinking side, can sort of send a signal to that wolf side, that raw, ragey side, to say, hey, you've got an about to moment coming up. And this empowers you to use that moment to decide your direction. It means you're giving yourself a chance to take a cool breath so you can calm down a hot situation. Now, the about to moment what I say about to moment. It's not new. I didn't come up with it. And to be honest, I can't remember where I got it from. But I've been referring to this and using this for years, this concept of an about to moment. And here's what I'm talking about. Um, I used to be really afraid of my own anger, and I still am in a sense, and I've talked about this, so this isn't new. Um, and one of the reasons I have a tricky relationship with my anger is because I have seen some really horrid displays of anger in my life. I have to say that growing up, I didn't have too many people around. I had a few people around that I could use as examples of healthy ways to express anger, but not that many. So I would hold in my anger because I was afraid of like I was afraid it was going to look like the displays of anger that I've seen in the past. So I would hold it in until I couldn't anymore. And then I'd go into this, you know, I just start going at everybody. Like I was a poodle cosplaying Cujo. Let's just put it like that. I hope I didn't scare you. Any case, through a lot of work and a lot of years of therapy, I learned about my about to moment, meaning I'm about to pop or I'm about to burst out crying. And my thinking side, my human side now will tap that emotional side, my wolf side, and say, you know what? Hey, you've got something coming up here. How shall we handle it? So what I'm talking about here is not about suppressing anger. It's about using that power that is fueling that Aries, Mars anger, tapping into it and asking, how can we balance this situation or how can we balance ourselves in this situation? And this is what I'm gleaning from the Sabian symbol about the possibility to experience two levels of being, gaining experience and learning how to get those two sides to work together. So it's not about control. It's not about the human side having that wolf side on a leash, because you know what? You can't put a wolf on a leash anyway. That about to moment is like, it's like when you're about to like have the big O. You know what I'm talking about? The big O, okay. You feel it kind of coming up or bubbling up, and it's the same thing that I'm talking about, except not as fun. Or maybe it is, I don't know. But anyway, maybe that'll help you during this time. Another thing is that when it comes to power and anger, for me, power comes first and anger comes second. Power fuels anger and it also fuels other things. Um, this is what I mean. I say to myself, I've got the power. I've got the power. My power fuels my anger, but it also fuels my emotions, my joy, my everything. So that means I can direct my power in any way I please. So the anger or the intense emotions that you feel during this period, think of them as being fueled by power that you actually have control over. You can turn that knob, like turn it to 0, or you can turn it all the way up to 10 if you'd like. I just don't advise you doing that right now because we've got enough people doing that. And this takes practice, all right? And you will have lots of opportunities to practice this during this full moon period. Okay? All right. So that's it for the Aries full moon conjunct Chiron, and the squares with Pluto and Mars, and the Sabian symbol at 25 degrees Aries, and all the fuck nuttery that follows. All right? Okay. Have a good one. And you got this. All right. Bye.